There's absolutely zero doubt in my mind. Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl, and she knows it.
Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her Cajuna hat.
When Sarah Ferguson spoke this time, the entire royal world seemed to hold its breath. This wasn't idle chatter, it was a verbal explosion. A single line that no one saw coming. And it changed everything.
Everything happened because of Fergie.
That one phrase shook Buckingham Palace to its core. Prince Harry was blindsided. Meghan Markle? Suddenly at the center of one of the most jaw-dropping royal whispers ever heard.
Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry.
It began innocently enough, just another friendly chat. A sly grin from Fergie until a journalist caught her words. Meghan was Andrew's first client. The room went silent. And then, chaos followed.
He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince Andrew.
In seconds, headlines exploded. Social media lost its mind. Within hours, Meghan's yacht days was trending everywhere. But here's the twist, this wasn't just a baseless rumor.
Meghan Markle was introduced through Marcus Anderson to Sarah Ferguson.
Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess who's been silenced, exiled, forgiven, and reborn more times than any royal alive, had just hinted at something far more disturbing. And this time, she didn't seem afraid. Behind palace gates, Harry was said to be stunned. Royal aides were scrambling. The monarchy's wall of secrecy began to tremble. What did Fergie really mean by first client? Why now? And what hidden past could possibly link Meghan Markle, once a Hollywood actress, to Prince Andrew's shadowy connections?
According to people, she got started her yachting days and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for any.
This isn't just another royal controversy. It's a story that could rip open the monarchy's deepest scars. And as more insiders start to talk, one chilling question echoes through Windsor's corridors. Did Fergie accidentally reveal the truth? Or did she intentionally strike the match that could set the entire royal image on fire? Because what unfolded next? Absolutely no one was prepared for.
She was a yacht girl, that's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl. Now, I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it happened, but I am saying Harry.
It started like any other weekend in the royal world, quiet charity lunches, picture-perfect smiles, and the same old polished charm the monarchy is known for. But this time, something was different. Beneath the surface, a storm was forming. Whispers began to ripple through royal circles, whispers about Sarah Ferguson saying something she shouldn't have. At first, no one took it seriously. After all, Fergie had survived decades of scandal and gossip. She knew better than anyone how a single sentence could explode into chaos. But this time, she didn't seem to care. At an exclusive gathering in Mayfair, surrounded by a crowd of old-money aristocrats and sharp-eyed reporters, Fergie dropped a comment that sent shockwaves through the room. With a sly, almost amused smile, she said quietly, "People forget. Meghan's first royal link wasn't Harry." The chatter stopped instantly. You could feel the air tighten. Someone let out a nervous laugh, hoping she was joking. She wasn't.
I wonder if Prince Andrew's going to come out and say, "Hey, Harry, I did your wife quite a few times on yachts before."
Those words spread faster than champagne at a royal gala. Within hours, phones were lighting up across palace corridors. Messages flew between aides, reporters, and insiders, all repeating the same shocking phrase. Andrew's first client. At first, it was just whispers in private group chats. Then, it slipped into newsroom drafts. And by evening, it was dominating social media. According to one insider, Prince Harry refused to believe it. He'd heard his fair share of rumors every royal had. But this one felt different. This time, it came from within their own circle. From someone who knew Andrew more closely than almost anyone alive. What could have been dismissed as idle gossip suddenly carried weight, real, dangerous weight. By nightfall, royal reporters were already chasing connections. Matching dates, names, and memories. Tracing Meghan's early Hollywood years to Andrew's lavish yacht gatherings. The ones long wrapped in mystery and scandal. Inside the palace, The PR team went into silent overdrive. No statements. No denials. Just carefully placed no comments. As journalists sharpened their headlines and prepared for what might come next.
Karina Shuliak, Epstein's girlfriend.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end with her Panama hat?
Behind those gilded palace doors, one question burned quietly. Was Fergie revealing a secret the royal family had buried for years? Or was she settling an old score? And if this was revenge, it felt like only the beginning. Long before the crowns, the high-profile interviews, and the luxury of Montecito life, Meghan Markle lived in a world ruled by ambition. A place where survival meant being seen, remembered, and chosen. Hollywood, after all, has never been kind to newcomers. And Meghan knew that better than anyone. Between bit parts on TV, dazzling appearances at red carpets, and charity galas designed to open doors, she built her reputation piece by piece. Always radiant. Always composed. Always calculating her next move. But beneath that flawless exterior was a fierce drive. A hunger to rise above the noise. To escape the invisibility that swallows countless dreamers in Los Angeles. People who knew her back then still talk about her magnetic charm. How she could step into a crowded room of producers and executives, and somehow leave with everyone remembering her name. She floated easily between elite circles, mingling with moguls, stars, and even a few figures with royal ties who often graced those same glittering events.
Free Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
They called them the elite yacht parties, floating worlds of luxury where power and privilege mingled behind closed decks. Deals were whispered over champagne. Introductions sparked opportunities. And sometimes, reputations were quietly destroyed. These weren't the sleazy tabloids' fantasies, not quite. But they weren't innocent either. Because in that glittering sea of secrets, every handshake carried a price. Favors. Rumors. Silent debts. It's been speculated that Meghan once stepped into that exclusive circle, attending a few of those glittering gatherings while carving her path toward fame. No solid proof exists, only fleeting photos, second-hand stories, and those mysterious someone saw her their claims that resurface years later. But that haze of half-truths was exactly what made Fergie's words sting. By tying Meghan's supposed yacht days to Prince Andrew's infamous world, Sarah Ferguson didn't just gossip, she reframed Meghan's entire past. To the tabloids, it was irresistible, the Hollywood actress turned royal duchess, now allegedly connected to the monarchy's most controversial figure. Whether it was true or not didn't even matter. Because in the royal universe, perception is far more dangerous than proof. And if anyone understood how to weaponize that, it was Fergie.
Prince Andrew, have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was around him?
To truly understand the impact of Fergie's words, you have to step into the shadow cast by Prince Andrew, once hailed as a royal hero, now forever marked by scandal. 4 years, Andrew glided through life wrapped in privilege, untouchable, admired, and fueled by the comfort of his title. He lived large, island getaways, Mediterranean yacht gatherings, private circles reserved for the ultra-powerful. To those around him, he was a man addicted to opulence, obsessed with prestige, and surrounded by people who never said no. But that illusion couldn't last. It shattered hard and fast. His ties to notorious power players and shadowy financiers dragged his name into a storm of disgrace. And when the Epstein connection emerged, followed by that disastrous interview, the damage was irreversible. Each misstep chipped away at the royal image until Andrew became what the palace feared most, a liability in a crown. So when Fergie's alleged remarks came to light, they hit like a spark in a room full of gasoline. Because by even hinting at a link between Meghan and Andrew, Fergie wasn't just stirring gossip, she was igniting controversy. That single connection tied the Duchess, already one of the most divisive figures in royal history, to the monarchy's darkest scandal. It wasn't a rumor anymore. It was a royal explosion.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001, when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University.
Just the hint that Meghan might have once brushed shoulders with Andrew's exclusive circle was enough to send tabloids into a frenzy. For the royal institution, the firm, it was nothing short of a nightmare. Two of the monarchy's most controversial figures, suddenly tangled together in one explosive narrative. Andrew stayed silent, hidden away from the public eye. But Fergie's words. They gave his shadow a second life, one that stretched dangerously close to Meghan's carefully built reputation. Because when Prince Andrew's name enters the picture, silence is never an option. And when Sarah Ferguson speaks, people listen even when they shouldn't. But this time, her comment didn't just spark curiosity. It struck like lightning through royal circles. During what was supposed to be an off-the-record chat at a quiet London square, Fergie reportedly leaned forward, eyes glinting with that signature mischief, and dropped a line that froze everyone around her. Her words. Let's just say Meghan was Andrew's first client. The tone was light, almost teasing, but the effect was instant. The room went still. Because those few words carried dangerous weight, the kind that could scorch reputations overnight. Within hours, whispers turned into headlines. By sunrise, the press was circling like vultures, tearing apart every syllable. Was Fergie taking a jab, calling Meghan a master networker, someone who played the game to rise through elite circles? Or was she hinting at something darker? Something buried deep within Andrew's tainted past? No one could say for sure. And that very ambiguity was what made the story explode.
I know what you're gonna say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there were quite a few trips. There's actually quite a lot of pictures about them. There are two pictures that...
Fergie, as always, played it perfectly mysterious. She didn't confirm. She didn't deny. Instead, she slipped behind that familiar mask of charm and mischief, flashing those subtle smiles that reveal nothing but somehow say everything. Inside palace walls, though, tempers flared. Senior aides scrambled to control the fallout, desperate to separate the firm from yet another royal mess. Whispers grew louder. Fergie had gone rogue again. But beneath the outrage, one uncomfortable truth lingered. She knew exactly what she was doing. Ferguson's entire public life has balanced on that razor edge between confession and chaos. This wasn't a careless remark. It was a carefully aimed spark. By linking Meghan's name with Andrew's shadowed legacy, Fergie didn't just revive old gossip, she rewrote the entire royal story. Suddenly, Meghan's silence felt uneasy. Harry's frustration looked justified. And the world waited for a reaction. That never came. Then, just as the noise began to fade, a deeper question surfaced. Why now? Every royal revelation has a reason. And Sarah Ferguson's timing is never random. To understand her motives, you have to follow her turbulent history with the crown, a story woven with scandal, exile, and a relentless need for redemption. Fergie has lived through it all. The toe-sucking headlines. The money troubles. The televised apologies. Each scandal could have ended her, but every time, she clawed her way back, smiling sweetly while plotting her next move. So why drag Meghan into the spotlight now? Some insiders whisper that the palace itself might be nudging her. If you write a book, expose the truth about Meghan, tell the world how she met Harry, they imagine royal voices saying. Others believe this was revenge, quiet payback for years of being treated like an outsider by the same institution that welcomed Meghan with open arms. And then there are those who see something else entirely, a masterclass in media manipulation. Fergie, the woman who knows how to spin chaos into opportunity, may simply be reclaiming her stage while the world looks elsewhere. Or perhaps she was defending Andrew, shifting the spotlight away from him with a perfectly timed distraction. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain, Fergie understands timing better than anyone alive. 4 decades, she survived public disgrace by mastering selective truth-telling, giving the tabloids just enough to keep her relevant, but never enough to destroy her. And this time, she may have played her boldest card yet. With one calculated comment, she reignited global attention, reopened royal wounds, and put herself right back in the center of the storm she once ruled. Was it strategy? Was it desperation? Maybe both. But one thing is undeniable, Fergie remains the royal family's uncontested queen of chaos. And the real question now is, what did she hope to gain by lighting this match? The morning after her alleged remark exploded across headlines, Buckingham Palace fell into quiet panic. No official statements. No press calls. Just an eerie silence thicker than the palace gates themselves. Behind that composed facade, panic pulsed. Advisors rushed between emergency meetings. Phones rang endlessly. Senior courtiers debated how to contain a wildfire already raging out of control. Every branch of the royal family suddenly felt the heat. And not one of them wanted to be the first to speak.
It could be also happening that the royal family is saying, hey, if you put a book out about Meghan Markle and completely destroy everything and really tell the people how Meghan met him.
According to a source close to the Sussex circle, Prince Harry was furious, but also trapped. The rumor had humiliated him in front of the world, yet he knew that any public reaction would only fan the flames. One wrong word, and the scandal would explode all over again. Meghan, meanwhile, chose silence. She pulled back from cameras, quietly cancelling upcoming appearances. Behind closed doors, her team worked around the clock reviewing statements, weighing legal options, and trying to contain the damage before it spiraled completely out of control. Online, the couple's critics rejoiced. Social media buzzed with mockery, headlines multiplied, and the atmosphere around the Sussexes grew heavier by the hour. But the tension wasn't just about what was said. It was about who said it. This wasn't some anonymous tabloid source. It was Fergie. Family. Someone who had shared royal dinners, private jokes, and secrets. Inside the palace, senior royals kept their distance, publicly neutral, privately cautious. They pretended not to take sides, yet every one of them was watching. Closely. Behind the gilded walls, the crisis team kicked into overdrive. Advisors scrambled to redirect attention toward charity appearances and royal engagements, doing everything possible to drown out the noise. But the story refused to fade. The phrase Andrew's first client clung to every headline, like smoke that refused to clear. No matter how hard the palace tried to move on, that one rumor hung in the air, haunting, toxic, and impossible to ignore.
She'd been a Deal or No Deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits. It was on her yachting.
Behind palace doors, resentment simmered. Some accused Fergie of betrayal. Others whispered she might have been framed. But one feeling united everyone, fear. Fear that yet another royal scandal, this time with Meghan at its center, could reopen the deep wounds left by Andrew's disgrace. The monarchy has always thrived on one thing, control. But now, that control was slipping through their fingers. And as the palace held its breath, Meghan's silence started to say more than any statement ever could. By sunrise, the royal machine was running on panic disguised as procedure. Aides rushed through corridors with stiff faces, clutching folders stamped urgent, pretending everything was fine while the air buzzed with quiet chaos. The firm's golden rule, never explain, never complain, suddenly felt fragile. Cracked. Sarah Ferguson's words had exploded across every headline, shaking the royal image once again. The family's reputation, already bruised, was now back under siege. Inside those polished offices, crisis management turned into a military operation. Teams prepared no-comment statements while senior royals argued over strategy, should they distance themselves or stay silent and let the storm pass. But this time, the issue ran deeper than public image. The real damage wasn't just in the press, it was in the palace itself. Because what had been shaken wasn't just reputation, it was trust.
Harry also knows Meghan was on Jeffrey Epstein's yacht with Prince Andrew.
Fergie's remark didn't come from an outsider, it came from inside the royal circle itself. And that's what made it sting the most. This wasn't tabloid gossip from a stranger. It was betrayal from within. Sources say Prince Harry was shaken. Furious, but unsure how to respond. Should he confront Fergie face to face, or let the legal team handle it quietly? Either move could ignite a firestorm. Meghan, meanwhile, vanished from view. No statements, no appearances, just silence. And that silence spoke volumes. Even the palace staff could feel the shift. Doors shut quicker. Conversations dropped to whispers. Smiles became rehearsed, measured, cautious. Every sentence had to be weighed because one slip could end up on tomorrow's front page. Courtiers tried to shift focus, flooding the media with stories of charity visits and official engagements. But the public wasn't fooled. The narrative had taken on a life of its own. Every photograph, every royal wave, every headline carried an unspoken question: what was really going on behind those palace walls? And though the royals kept smiling for the cameras, behind the scenes they were holding their breath, praying this scandal would fade like so many before. But this time, it felt different. The threat wasn't coming from the press or the public. It was coming from within, from their own bloodline. And as the dust slowly began to settle, if it ever truly could, one truth became undeniable. This story had changed the royal landscape forever. What started as an offhand comment from Sarah Ferguson had evolved into something far greater, a full-blown crisis of loyalty, image, and power.
This woman knows that she's in trouble with Fergie because she knows where Meghan Markle's bodies are buried. She knows that Meghan Markle has been yachting. In fact, they had friction because Meghan had originally set her sights on Prince Andrew, but she lucked out with the idiot Harry. Not in a million years did Meghan think that she was going to score Prince Harry. She thought she was going to score Andrew until Fergie put a stop.
Meghan's silence still hangs heavy like a storm cloud that refuses to move on. Harry's trust, once unshakable, now feels fractured. And the royal institution? Once again fighting the ghosts it swore were buried long ago. But maybe that's the royal pattern: every time they try to control the story, another secret forces its way into the light. The question isn't just whether Fergie crossed a line, it's what else she might be hiding. Because if this is what she's willing to say out loud, just imagine the whispers echoing behind palace doors. And if you thought this revelation was shocking, wait until you see how deep the next one goes. In our previous video, Prince Andrew and Fergie were left reeling after King Charles pulled a move that no one saw coming. We uncovered how that single decision blindsided Andrew and sent royal loyalties spinning into chaos. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to watch that next. It connects perfectly to this unfolding royal storm. This is the Regal Report, where the truth still shines, even in the darkest corners of the crown. Stay curious. Stay bold. And remember, in the royal world, nothing ever stays private for long. Watch our last episode now, before the next royal shock hits.